Hey folks, what's up? My name is Sir Medieval and today we'll be diving into some news for Mount & Blade 2, Bannerlord. The news was appearing less and less frequently over the past couple of weeks, and I can only hope that's because they're hard at work at bringing the game to its early access stage. Last week we had received some more information on the morale system of the game, and the last week of September they had gone into further detail on the siege system. I'm really hoping we get the siege mode in the multiplayer beta as soon as possible, because I've been dying to try it out to get a taste of what's to come. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Kicking it off with the morale system, they start off by describing it as a key factor in warfare. An army can be greater in number, better trained, and exceptionally equipped, but without the will to fight, none of that matters. On the campaign map, each party has a morale rating. Our party's morale is shown in the lower right panel of the screen. If we mouse over it, we'll be able to see a tooltip on how it changes from day to day and what factors currently affect it. Party morale changes mainly due to the result of our actions. Things like having successful battles or raids tend to increase it, as opposed to excessive casualties and actions like sacrificing our troops during retreats reducing it. Alongside this, just like in Warband, failing to pay wages or letting our troops go hungry will also end up lowering the morale. If we manage to keep our party's morale high on the map, we'll start to see a number of benefits. We'll gain things like a slight speed boost with a small advantage in battle situations. But on the other hand, just like before, if we allow the morale to fall below a certain threshold, some of our troops may start deserting to look for better employment. While party morale is important on the campaign map, it is arguably more critical during battle. Medieval battles were always fought in close quarters, very stressful situations that were always bound to cause a morale-based panic or two. At the beginning of battles in Bannerlord, each soldier is given a starting morale based on their party's overall morale rating. Whenever a troop is wounded or killed, friendly troops that are nearby receive a morale penalty. This morale penalty gets modified according to the commander's skills and perks, and also other factors. They say that troops standing in a shield wall will receive less penalty, which sounds like formations give morale bonuses in battle, but right now that's only a theory. On the other side of that, troops on your side will get a morale bonus when one of their own kills an enemy troop nearby. If one side is decisively winning, the other side will lose morale quickly, and vice versa. If the fighting ends up being more or less balanced, then both sides will lose morale at a steady rate. Whichever way the combat goes, usually some soldiers' morale will start dropping to the point that they will start to panic and run away, which is quite dangerous because every time a soldier panics, this will also create a morale penalty on nearby troops, and a few running away can easily start a domino effect that might lead to an entire formation breaking. They compare the morale system to a historical event in which Edward IV led his troops to the front, while Henry VI remained nearby in York. During the battle, Edward was able to inspire his men towards a crushing victory against his opponent despite his numerically inferior force. This battle is the Battle of Toten, and that also pretty much sums it up for what they've given us so far in terms of the morale system. It seems like it's going to play a pretty important part in our gameplay, both on the campaign map and in battle. Seems like one we'll definitely have to keep an eye out for. Next up on the list is talking about the sieges themselves. In this part of the topic, the team goes into some even more sweet detail about what to expect from this side of the game. They start off by talking about sieges being a very key event to the game. Whether it's defending your homeland, aggressively expanding your borders, or simply trying to establish yourself among the ranks of nobility, sieges are at the very heart of the Mount & Blade experience. With Bannerlord, their goal is to enhance sieges in their entirety, ranging from the tricks that we can employ to indirectly weakening a settlement before laying siege, all the way through driving the last defenders from their keep. In a previous blog post, they had gone over the bombardment phase on the campaign map and how it plays a part, alongside taking a look at keep battles and both their importance plus when they can occur. And this one they probably dive into the most important part, the assault itself. To start with, assaulting a castle is something that we'll have to consider more carefully in this version. Castles, for instance, will call upon a local militia to defend the settlement in a time of crisis, but more often than not, they will also house a garrison of professional soldiers that can put up much more of a resistance. Plus, if the castle has a governor overseeing the defense, things start to become even trickier, since governors can boost defensive siege engine and garrison quality. The first thing that tends to happen with these assaults is that we're met with the deployment phase, in which we can choose to position our troops and machines. We can select each formation and move it around a deployable zone, positioning our troops for the best possible advantage. Each castle will typically have 3 sections open to attack, and we have to choose a method of attack for each. We could also choose to ignore a section to focus on other targets, attempt to ascend ladders, use an assault tower, utilize a battering ram, or if we had used engines to take down a wall section through bombardment plan, we could try to push through the breach. The availability of AI to carry out the siege plan together is what ends up expanding the system. Players can carry out multi-pronged attack on multiple sections simultaneously without much difficulty while focusing their attention on the most critical location. In this scenario, we're able to let the AI carry out a diversionary attack which splits the forces of the enemy troops, while we lead our elite soldiers and attack the most vulnerable points. The same principles also apply to siege defense. If as the player we command the battle or are captain of one of the formations, we can give orders to override what the defensive AI would do. However, controlling all the formations and all sides at the same time from our perspective wouldn't always be easy. We as players may want to take over defense of the weakest section as the AI tries to maintain the rest of the defense as effectively as possible. When the AI is responsible for the attacking force, it will make a few checks to determine how and when it will launch its assault. It does this by assessing its own strength to that of the opponent, which leads it to either choosing to press a coordinated attack on many fronts or attempt a concentrated assault through its weakest point. At the same time, the AI decides how it splits its force to achieve this. If there is a breach in the wall, the AI will try to send many soldiers through that side. However, if there are ladders, fewer troops will be sent. Or in the case of a breach on another wall, the AI may choose not to use the side with the ladders at all. If we as attackers have a battering ram or siege tower while also having ladders, the AI will take this into account. The AI can even hold its assault on sides that can be quickly breached until all of the slow-moving engines have reached their destination. Formations on the waiting side will also try to stay in a relatively safe spot while threatening to attack the defenders if they pull from that section. From the defending side, the AI considers both the threat level of the means of attack and the actual enemy positioning. For example, if the enemy is bringing a siege tower from the left side and has ladders on the right, if the attacker is threatening both sides, since ladders are easier to defend against, there will be less troops concentrated on that side and more towards the side of the siege tower itself. If the attackers are trying to be tricky and attack purely from the ladder side with all of its troops, the defending AI will realize this and bring the bulk of their infantry to defend that section. If the defenders end up destroying a ram or a siege tower, rendering that side unattackable, they will then divert to the other sections. The defending AI also relocates its archers with similar reasoning. If the enemy cannot or does not attack from one side, defending archers will leave that position to cover the other side. In addition to this, when a wall or gate point is about to fall, archers on a nearby wall may be sent to bolster the numbers so that it isn't met without resistance. And just like we talked about previously, morale does play a part in the siege as well. Retreating will be a part of the strategic planning, and ultimately, the AI tries to estimate whether the attack or defense can succeed or not, and if retreating will only yield more immediate casualties. For a last example, if we imagine a siege where 500 men are trying to take a city defended by 100, as the assault continues, men die from both sides and the attacking side ends up with 250 while the defending still has 80 without having stepped foot in the castle at all. At this point, the attacking AI commander may decide to call off the assault instead of losing more troops in vain. This means we might not have an easiest time defending against AI armies. Instead of just throwing everything at us like they did in Warband, it may decide to call off assaults, retreat to prepare, and come back. We'll have to use time like this to the best of our advantage too. Don't forget to check out some of their recent sandbox footage, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, folks, and be sure to leave a like and sub if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you for the next one. Farewell.